Welcome back to the Real Kings podcast. I know y'all missed us for a while, but we are back, ready to give y'all our first episode out the brick. Of course, we got at least one missing and one that never shows up. Rob and Jonathan are somewhere off, probably reading Daredevil hate conspiracy theories on the internet and probably waiting for Iceman to drop on the 15th. So they somewhere trying to get tickets to Drake's new concert or whatever he's dropping. What up, fellas?
I don't think John is crazy enough to go to a Drake concert with Rob.
Hey, he went to a movie with Rob once.
But that's a whole different level than going to a weekend or a Drake concert with that man. That man goes topless to them joints.
I don't know, man. You know, some people are thrill seekers. You know, if you want a thrill or adventure, just go somewhere like that with Rob. You'll never forget it.
What up, Live? What up,
What's
Dane,
up,
man? Been a minute since we did this. Heck, man, we got a lot of topics to cover this episode and probably stuff moving forward. What I did want to talk to y'all about is we missed a lot of sports. What y'all thinking about these NBA playoffs? I know we had the NFL
You know
draft.
what I'm thinking?
Let's go NY.
Yeah.
That Go New York song is so bad.
It's so weak.
But I can't talk no trash because the Commander song is just as weak, if not weak.
Left hand up or the hell to the Commanders?
The left hand up.
Yeah.
And John being in this joint. You're right. You're killing that joint.
I'm not going to lie. This playoffs is probably one of the most entertaining, like, first rounds and the second rounds that I've seen in a minute.
Yeah.
The first round was great. Second round not looking so good for me, fellas.
Right.
Yeah, I'll being a Lakers fan in these streets.
Yeah, y'all caught a tough break, especially with Luka being injured, and then there
was no matchup that we could have. It was no matchup we could have caught in the second round that was going to be good for us. If you look at all four of the teams,
that's true.
Like OKC, of course, was going to destroy us. Spurs would have destroyed us. Minnesota would have destroyed us. It didn't matter.
That's what I like, man. Every team kind of has like an interesting backstory, whether it's like Cleveland and, looking at Harden and the crew, and then like Detroit. Like there's like a good backstory. Wemby.
Yeah, but they ain't got first world problems, man.
I do. Absolutely.
Like this is a down year, and they still in the second round. Like,
that's true.
If Luka was playing and we got matched up with Minnesota, I feel like we could have probably squeeze that one out, but the other one's
Minnesota.
I'm just used to not even being in the playoffs, like,
right?
Being like literally like worrying about where we gonna be in the lottery, like. So this is an amazing. Like ever since we got Brunson, man, it's been up. But it's just so cool being a Knicks fan. It's almost like just going through all that misery. It just makes it that much better. And people just keep talking about how crazy we are as Knicks fans and just showing me videos like, what's wrong with y'all? I'm like, y'all wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand. So it's an cool, amazing feeling, man. Like and then they're like really good. So I can't necessarily say I could see them beating OKC in the finals if they get there. Here's the thing though. Injuries happen.
That's what I was thinking. Now,
you just gotta get to the show and just hope thing.
And for those listening, I'm a New York Knicks fan convert. I jumped on the bandwagon. What, year and a half ago, 2 years, like that.
James,
it's funny to see.
James don't want to tell you he a sellout.
So
but he was never a Wizards fan though.
Oh, you were never a Wizards fan?
He was a Spurs fan.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that was largely because what people don't know, James was like a phenom basketball player as a kid. And I think he just lost the passion for it when
he stopped getting taller.
Well, he did stop growing. He was kind of a big man, and I think he just loved David Robinson. Then they had their run with Tim Duncan and everything, right. So that was a great team to be with. Just since then, I mean, it'd be nice to be a Spurs fan now, but I mean, I can let James tell you why he maybe converted to the Knicks, but I will say he wasn't like he was a Wizards fan, and then
Yeah.
Hey, but what I was gonna say is it's fun to kind of see, and if the Lakers were up, it would be the same thing. But I love to see like the crowd and like the celebrity row and all that stuff that New York and LA brings. It's like not just a basketball game; it's like an event when they're doing well. So it's fun to see. Like every game, there's something additional going on. Whether it's like Jay-Z trying to find his car at the end, or Chalamet in the front. You know what I mean? It's
Tracy
always
Morgan
a little
throwing
extra.
up,
right? Or with Dane, Jack Nicholson used to always be in the front. With 2 20-year-old women on his side.
I actually, one of them women was like his daughter. So,
well, hey.
But I have a few friends that are Knicks fans outside of just y'all, and one of them said to me in a chat like last week, "You think we could get the Lakers versus the Knicks in the finals?" I was like, "Dude, get off my phone! Like you know it good and damn well we not making it to no finals."
Yeah.
Y'all definitely need something like an injury or something. You know what I mean? Like
we got an injury. They missing Williams at number 2. And still
they still
and we held SGA to 18 points in game 1 and still couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, man. But I was telling my wife about this last night and just telling her how happy I am, how this is just such a great time to be alive.
Did she not understand?
She just told me, "Shut up." She was like, "Shut up."
It's funny too because I wasn't sold on Chet Holmgren when they drafted him.
Yeah,
but just because he was so thin, like him and Wemby, like they both came out, and I was like, he's gonna be the anti-Wemby, and he's gonna roll an ankle, but he be balling too, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like when dudes are built like that, no one has ever picked up the moniker Mr. Fantastic. I do not know why.
Oh yeah,
it's so perfect for them type of dudes. Even Mikal Bridges, like just their build just look like Mr. Fantastic.
Mikal Bridges is like wiry and long, even though he's not tall like them. He does look like that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of characters they could take, man. But
y'all happy with the draft, NFL draft?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, no. Actually, let me take that. Let me take that back. I am absolutely upset with the NFL draft, just not our pick. I am upset that y'all got Avril Reese.
Right.
I mean Arvell Reese, excuse me, Avril, and offensive lineman. I am miserable that Downs went to the Cowboys.
I am too.
I'm mad at y'all for letting that happen.
I know. Somebody called me. I said, "Cowboys about to get Caleb Downs, aren't they?"
Dude.
I just saw it coming, man. I was like,
Before any of the main coverage or the combine or anything happened, the first player I wanted was Caleb Downs. Then of course I fell in love with Jeremiah Love like everybody else did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Sonny Styles. But yeah, I did not want him.
I knew it was more responsible the way the Giants went.
Absolutely.
But it just hurt to know that he was sitting right there.
Right.
And it's no way y'all could pass up on Reese falling to 5.
Yeah.
No way.
Nah.
Yeah, all in all, it was good, man.
So,
have y'all even care about this Vrabel stuff?
Oh man, it's so hilarious. I have some more critical takes on it. I think people's personal life, even if it may be immoral, I think some of that stuff has no real place on whether someone should have a job or not.
Right.
Especially for Diana Rossini. Like, I just think that's crazy. But the more and more I've been learning about it is that she do kind of undermine the ethical validity of being a journalist by doing some of that. So like, I kind of do get that part. But then Vrabel come out, I'm going to take a few days off. I won't be at the draft day 3.
Boy,
what? What kind of punishment is that?
Boy, that wasn't nothing but I told my wife I'm willing to skip the draft to save our marriage.
Man, I think that marriage been dead. They've been finding them. They've been smashing since 2020.
Right.
5-6 years, crazy, bro. Like, somebody was like, that ain't that wasn't an affair. That's his girlfriend.
Yes, yes. That's
her
his
husband probably like, bruh, because she used to like always make those jokes, you know what I mean, about her husband or her marriage, and now all this is coming out. He probably like, man.
And she stay on the road because of her job. So he's like, so this whole time, like.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because it always seemed like certain spirits or like clouds follow certain teams. Like we had that for a while with Snyder and everything, but the Patriots always got something going on.
Yeah.
But James, she was down here during the Snyder era.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it's weird though, because it's like when you look at people like Ime Udoka, it's like it just like really affected. Like he can't be a coach no more. He got to get fired.
So the one difference I will, the one difference, well, absolutely, but the one difference I will,
he got for
the one difference, the one difference in him and Vrabel is he was messing with somebody in the organization.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Vrabel was not.
Yes,
so.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, man. We talking about spectacles and big performances. We probably should get into this Michael review. What did y'all think of the movie? And then I also want to kind of pick y'all brain on like some of the controversy that surrounds it. With the child molestation allegations. And it's funny how certain people, and Michael's one of them, are so polarizing. You don't really get a lot of folks that fall in the middle. You either diehard Michael fan, he didn't do anything, or you fall on the side of like, he's a child molester, he's a bad person. But what I liked about the movie is it kind of just and I know that there were some legal issues on why they did that, but I did really like that it focused on the music and it just was more of like a concert movie. So it was like kind of fun to see the hits and stuff.
Yeah.
But what was y'all thoughts on that, the performances? I didn't realize there were so many actors in this joint, man.
Yeah. I mean, so one, I kind of wish Michael actually got the Christopher Nolan. I can't put Spike Lee in that sort of like category anymore. Like Ray felt akin to like a Ray, but I felt like Michael really deserved to like for his biopic to be
in depth,
super top tier.
Right.
Like a director, all of that.
This felt more like poppy.
This felt more like a little bit lower level, but the actors showed up. And I think that was a credit to Fuqua, who has a lot of credibility and can get all of those people. I know there's a lot of issues with pay discrepancies and stuff these days, especially with black actors. But for whatever reason, the casting was really good enough. And Jafar was, I don't think there's anybody better. I would put Jafar's rendition of his uncle right up there with Ray, with Jamie Foxx. Like he speaks just like him. And when it comes to the performances, the dancing and all of that, he's as good as you could expect anybody to perform as Michael Jackson.
It's sort of cheating though, ain't it?
It is.
I mean, I know Mike been gone for a while, so he was very little when he was around Mike, but he got all the family videos. He got all the people around him that know how to mimic Mike exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's similar to what Fuqua shared as well, is that he had been preparing for a Mike movie for like a couple years.
Okay.
Fuqua got introduced to him, so he came to the audition in character. And Fuqua was literally blown away. But I think it's sort of similar to the way Jamie Foxx has been pitching this Mike biopic.
Right.
So it's not like, oh, I got to prepare to be Mike, I got cast. It's like, I've been preparing for this.
Right.
I've been anticipating this opportunity for years, and I've been honing this, rendition of who it is. So, but it is like, again, that's literally my uncle. And maybe the voice is a little bit genetically,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. He got a lot of advantages.
Got similar stature.
Right. Genetics where they look alike and stuff. But still, hats off to him, because like from the moment he showed up on screen, it was like I didn't feel like I was looking at a movie. It really felt like I was watching Michael go through this. Like, and I was like, man, he's so much like Michael. And even like things that I remembered.
Mike was amazing too.
I remember this. Mike was amazing. He also, I saw something where he kind of was a Michael Jackson like impersonator.
Okay.
But he didn't do Little Mike. He did, the Michael Jackson we know that is the phenomenon, and he would dance and all that stuff. But he auditioned for it based on this, and they were like, man. So some things seem like it's divine, because, for these two actors that already kind of had this lane to end up on screen and give the performances they did is just crazy.
I also, so the performances were really good from most people. I mean, Miles Teller Like you said, like there were some really A-listers who really are strong actors and
Did
a
y'all
lot
know
of
he was in
prominent
it
roles.
before
I
y'all
didn't.
saw it? I didn't either.
I think I saw him on a trailer.
Okay.
I think I saw him on the trailer. But you
Some-
know, it's so many
Lorenz
people.
Tate
It's so
popped up.
many people that were super famous in real life that are probably just small parts in this movie.
Right.
That a lot of those
Yes.
A-listers are like, yeah, I'll play that character because he's super famous in real life. And if you ever want to do a spinoff or something, I can reprise that role and get a much bigger role.
Yeah. And I think one big name that fit that category that you wouldn't even recognize was Mike Myers.
Yeah.
He's in it. Most people didn't even recognize him for the small part he played. But one of the interesting things about it, and just going back to your original question, was that I did love the fact, as someone who grew up probably one of the biggest Michael Jackson fans that there was, appreciating him getting his flowers in a movie that recants his rise to his peak, which they stopped this movie at 1988. A lot of criticism, it seemed like, came about for this movie for reasons of people's expectations not being met, as opposed to anything bad about the movie.
Yeah.
So I've heard people say, why did it just end like that? And it's almost like, okay, you expected to see his whole life, which is understandable, but that didn't make the movie bad. You just didn't have that expectation met.
So as somebody, I'm sorry.
Go
So
ahead.
as somebody who was a big fan, did you want them to get more in depth, even in just the time frame that they showed? Did you want them to dig more and show more to? Okay.
No, it just should have been. A lot of biopics tend to be 3 hours.
Right.
As James mentioned, what you don't know, or what they're not making pretty much prevalently known, is that some legal issues cut a significant part of the film that they couldn't include. So they had to kind of re-edit it in a way that made sense. And I think they did a good job.
Is that the Janet stuff?
No, it was more about some of the
allegations
came up, and there were a lawsuit came up after that prevented this movie from touching on it. So they had already
found it. I think it was in reference to remember he had 2 large cases that he had. The first one he settled on, and he really didn't settle. It was his insurance company that settled. And it wasn't for allegations. It was like for negligence or something like that. Within the fine print of that settlement, they couldn't talk about the victim or
in a disparaging way, I think.
Right. Or the allegations or something like that. So they had to rework that whole second half. But I think they did such a good job of reshooting and ending it where they did that it didn't appear that way. So people just kind of feel like that's what the plan of the movie was, and maybe that's why they were upset.
When it ended, it started to feel like, are they going to do a part 2? And then before the credits, it says more, basically, there's more of Mike to come or something like that.
Yeah, because they already said that the part 2 is greenlit.
So that made me feel like people should have been, like, it's fair to be like, oh, it just ended like that. But it ended on a high note of Mike really reaching his peak. And it was like, I thought that was a great way to end it. Then the other part was, I saw that, and I do think that this is a minority. I do think that there's a small faction of people who are not from our culture who want to look at Mike a certain way and felt like that part was missing. Why haven't y'all included that part? Why are y'all just glorifying Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
And my problem with that is, I have my own deductive issues with how he's been categorized. And I think
I do too.
There's a lot of smoke around the fact that how powerful he was within the music industry. He became a public enemy for them. And I think a lot of what we talked about is this corporate espionage. And I think that there's a lot to be said about how far companies and corporations will go when it has money involved, especially when you're talking billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah. And they really don't focus on, and I'm sure the movie maybe was going to get into it, but with that first allegation and settlement, the dude was the child's father was like a dentist to the stars, and had like given him scripts and all types of stuff along the way, asked Mike to buy him a house. And then when he stopped that's when these allegations came. There was a recording of him saying that he was going to ruin Michael. And the second, the one that went to trial was, clearly thrown out, and the FBI investigated because that lady was the same way.
Yeah.
got a lawyer before they even met Mike. Her son was a Make-A-Wish kid.
Yeah.
And Mike met him through that. But 9 months before Mike came by and met him for Make-A-Wish and all that stuff, she had got with a lawyer and said, you know, what would I have to do to get a civil suit first Michael Jackson? So it was it's a whole lot of like, and again, there's additional accusations and there's stuff with like, I can't remember the kid's name that was a dancer for him that recently came out and did the HBO documentary and everything. But it's just strange that there's so many of these allegations pop up right around the time that something big is going to happen with Michael.
But then you had other people who were also kids at that time who had relationships with him who were telling us, no, the FBI, the police were trying to make me lie.
Exactly.
Corey
Feldman said that they tried to make
Macaulay Culkin.
One of the things
Aaron Carter even said his mother was trying to coach him through it. And he was like, no, Mom, what are you talking about? Are you crazy?
I didn't even think about, because our concept of our reality versus Mike's reality, Macaulay Culkin was in an interview, because one of the big things that came out from this was like, my child was sleeping in Michael Jackson's bedroom. And you hear that and you think, you know, your bed takes up majority of your bedroom. You're in there. Macaulay Culkin's like, you know, Mike has never really been good at defending himself or being a public speaker. But Michael Jackson's bedroom is like 3 stories.
House. Yeah.
He was like, you know, so the concept of, we slept in Mike's bedroom, but there's like 3 or 4 floors to the bedroom. You know what I mean? So
that joint is a penthouse
when you
suite.
say that and then you look at the transcripts and stuff, they weren't like, I slept in the bed and spooned with Michael Jackson. It was, I slept in his bedroom. So it's like they kind of play with reality.
But even with that point, the movie did a good job of helping you sympathize with Mike on that level. Like it didn't spend a tremendous amount of time going into like his psyche about being basically a boy in a man's body.
Right.
But they did a good enough job threading all the things together to help you understand how he didn't have a childhood and how from his earliest age, he was a product for the stage and then ultimately for TV and then just for large scale consuming entertainment. And that he wasn't normal. Like he even talked about that in the movie. The character just expresses how, like, I'm different. I can't even have friends. Like even when I try, they don't even see me as a real person. It's like I just can't do anything about it. Like I just stuck. And then they kind of put together that he starts having animals and stuff, and those are his friends, and he could talk to them. But I thought they also, and James, getting your thoughts on this, I thought the movie's central theme created Joe as a villain. And that's really what the movie was about this dynamic of Peter Pan versus Captain Hook. Like,
I didn't think about it like that, but definitely.
And so you have this boy just trying to get to Neverland, which is basically, I think, being able to be free and just enjoy life and what he loves to do. And you just got this sort of controlling father who just has his hooks in him the entire time. And he's just like, he cannot really garner enough strength and independence to speak up and like even fire his father.
Right.
And it's just, I thought the movie was just a dope storyline of putting it all together to get there.
But for me, that was crazy. I didn't realize some of that. Like I didn't realize that they stayed all in the same house for so long.
I didn't either.
Because I just assumed that when he was kind of having his issues with Joe and the family, because that was never quite secret. Like you could see it even with that Jackson's reunion tour and everything. I didn't realize like he fired Joe, but like still going downstairs and seeing him at the refrigerator. That's awkward, man.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yes. But they did a good job with the brothers. I thought it was very reminiscent seeing the Jackson 5 parts to when we had the miniseries come on CBS. And so I thought they did a good job. And some people critiqued that too. Some people said that they felt like, well, I didn't learn anything new. I didn't agree with that. I didn't know that the head of his security, Bill Burr, what was his name? Bill, I forgot his last name.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Bill Bray.
Bray, yeah.
He was like a surrogate father to him.
Mhm.
Like, he literally looked out for Mike and was with Mike like his whole life. And Mike used to call him father, or dad. He was like a good dad role model for him. I'm telling y'all, I've been a big Mike fan, and I never knew that dude had that big of a role in his life.
Right.
Hadn't seen really interviews about him or him getting on interviews talking about his sort of son relationship with him or none of that. So that was new to me.
Were any of his other nephews playing his brothers?
No, I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
No, okay.
But apparently there's some beef, and that is the theory that Randy may have had a lot to do with this movie, and because him and Janet have real big issues, some speculate that's why Janet was not in the movie.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like. I think Janet, Reby wasn't in there. Jermaine, I don't think. But they did mention Jermaine and why he stepped off. Like, and then
because he did it solo.
Yeah, but Janet not being in it, it just felt weird.
But I thought I heard something somewhere, and I would have to go find it and reread what I saw. But I thought they did the screening for the family, and Janet disliked what they did so much she said to take her out of the movie. So I don't know if it was his call or her call, but
from what I heard
that there
I
was
think
some
she
beef.
just declined from the beginning,
or
her part was so small that they could just take her out.
Maybe that's what it was.
I think that from the beginning she just wasn't down with it. Which also, man, like, it's crazy, this family, man, because Janet is a star within herself that probably deserves
She's the second biggest star, in the family.
Biography, biopic down the road, and maybe she just, again, man, like, Michael's her brother and all this family drama and stuff, but she probably didn't want her light dimmed. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I want to make sure that my story's told from my perspective.
Her Joan is so different, though. Like, she's starting off as an actress, as a child
but
actor.
that's interesting. There's so much in that we probably don't know, and her on the set a good time. Like, I think that would be interesting, and even her maybe even coming up in Mike's shadow, what it was like to be like, hey, I have aspirations to be an artist, but my dad, Crazy Joe, is focused on the boys.
Michael.
You know what I mean?
It's so crazy,
Michael.
All
to
the way
have
to
both of them
Jam
be in
and
the
Lewis.
same family.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's insane. Like, y'all just made me think about she could have a whole biopic herself.
Yeah.
And then
and not even
constantly be looking
good
for
times. From good times to Scream.
Yeah.
All the way. All the way.
Man,
and maybe y'all don't know. Stevie Wonder is their cousin.
I didn't know that.
Really?
He is one of their parents' second cousin.
Wow. But that's where, certain things, man, like we talk about genetics and everything else, but that's why I just think that there's divinity there, man. They talk about your natural talents that you have. And how
somebody's great-great-grandmother was praying over that whole family.
Yeah, like
and
there's just your blood that, you know what I mean?
But I also like that they have really good interpretations of like Berry Gordy and Quincy Jones too.
Yeah,
they did.
Those are legendary people,
and those were two of the people I was thinking about with smaller roles, but great actors play.
Yeah. So man. All in all, man, I think if anything else, I was really disappointed to see all of the review bombing. Before it released, it just a lot of the stuff with Mike just feels contrived and like intentional.
What is strange to me is that the typical review bombing is with the audience score.
Yeah.
This was vice versa. So the fans, the people that this movie was made for, enjoyed it. And it got a 97 audience score.
Yeah.
But the critics gave it a 38. But like when Loft says, the criticism is mainly because they felt like it didn't get through the full story or didn't get, but as opposed to reviewing, the one thing that all the critics, even in their low ratings, seem to agree on was Jafar Jackson's performance.
That's true.
But they ignored how well Coleman Domingo did. They ignored how young Mike did. You know what I mean? There's a lot there that it was like, man, this actually, especially for the budget, was a very good movie, man.
You also have to take into account that, like y'all said before, there's nobody like Michael Jackson.
Right.
Like this is probably the most famous person in modern history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Point blank, period.
Yeah.
Like
And then
you
even
add
outside-
up people that are famous now,
right,
and they still not as famous as he
and
was
it's a
alone
different
in
level,
the 80s.
man. Mike, just because of how strange he was and how childlike he could be, and just the upbringing that he had, and the fact that he literally had hits since he was like a kid, all the way up to when he passed away. There's nobody or anything like that. So there's a lot of mystery and enigma, and we didn't live in a world with social media and video cameras on your cell phones and everything like that back then. So there was a lot of stuff that went untold and unspoken that, there's still a lot of mystery around him and his family. And every time I see something about the Jacksons, I seem to always learn some new tidbit that I was like,
and with social media and just the access to celebrities, there will never be someone like that ever again.
And that's where I was going with
it was funny, to that point. I can't remember who it was. I feel like it was a comedian. I was looking at a video on IG that they posted, but they were talking about how people don't realize how famous he was, to the point that critics are just fans for him, and that's why you hear that polarizing responses to the movies. But they said how Jay-Z and Beyonce, two of the most recognizable black people in America, can go sit courtside at a Knicks or a Lakers game and they good.
Yeah.
But Mike went to the Lakers game with all of those stars there, and they had to stop the game,
right,
and make him leave because they could not get people to stop. Trying to get the mic.
I forgot about too was just the level of philanthropy that he had, man. Like he gave to so many different charities and children's funds, and I forgot him going to see the Make-A-Wish people. And I forgot, like, even in his like introvert nature that he had, he, with all of that, caused, like, not to necessarily caused it, but he would sign autographs. So literally you would get this wave of people, and like like you said, like people touching him and fainting. Like I don't think we'll ever see that again, unless it's Rob and he goes to see Drake.
Right. But that man used to step on stage and people would just pass out,
and it was worldwide. That happened no matter where he went
rare
in the world.
He was an exceptional one of one. And the way he would go to Africa, and the whole continent would be there in attendance. The way
Chris Brown could never.
The way Mike would just come out and stand there for like 5 minutes with that daggone glove on. And just, again, I love Chris Brown. I don't even think Chris Brown wants to be compared to Mike. I think he knows he is that guy. But when I hear these conversations, it's recency bias, because I was there, bro. Like, Mike was something otherworldly in the sense that, and I love that this movie captured so many little nuanced things about his character too, about how he cared about kids and even animals, or just how he would step outside of what was normal for somebody of his stature to do, and how he would do the right thing. He spoke truth to power. He changed MTV. Like he wanted to pioneer Black excellence and break down racial barriers, and he just don't get enough credit for that. And a lot of that is, again, stuff that he probably could have changed those narratives if he was more outspoken. I just don't, like, I think that's what Macaulay Culkin was saying. Like, Mike just didn't have that. That wasn't one of his strengths, is to get on there and do PR about why I have vitiligo, or do PR and, what'd you say?
I was going to say, and most importantly, he threw up the C with the Crips in the picture.
Man, dang. So let me just say this. I did want to just, like, my last thought is that people should go see it and judge it for themselves. It's already been a box office success, which makes me happy. But I think if the reviews were any hesitation why people wouldn't go see it, I hope they would ignore that and just go give it a chance. Because, even that part really meant a lot to me, to show his connection with sort of like the Black experience, even in the hood, even with him seeing in LA all the gang violence, and him saying, I need to do something about that. And how the real gangsters in their 60s now are being interviewed again.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, we was just in there like, he really showed up. Like Mike and nobody in there was tripping, because we literally had so much respect for him. And then he put him in the Thriller video. I had no idea
Yep, me neither. I didn't know that.
That the dudes, when there's just this one scene, which was always my favorite scene, because I was so into Mike, but I was really into breakdancing. There's a part where the zombies are just pop locking and breakdancing.
Oh, that's
and it's just randomly in there.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that's because he included the gangsters who were still doing that on the street in the video. And they kind of show you that. So I just thought that was great.
And not to belabor the point, but getting back to kind of what Lav said, it's crazy how he had that impact on almost all cultures. Like when you look at his fan base, it's not like typically, usually you get like, hey, blacks are going to support him or white. Like he, like across the board, especially once he broke through, like you said, through MTV and everything, like his fan base is worldwide, and it's black, white, it's in between, it's young, it was old. It's like he really was a superstar to everyone. You know what I mean? And impacted them in their lives in ways that, you know, we're still continuing to hear about.
Yeah.
Hey, Lav, what's the rapper from Gary, Indiana? God,
Freddie Gibbs?
Yeah, Freddie Gibbs. He be telling stories about how him and his pops, his pops and Mike was rivals at high school, and they used to sing against each other. So,
yeah,
it's so funny.
But you know, he rep for Gary in a way that helps people understand. Like they really from the hood, man. And like I love just learning more about who Mike was behind the scenes. There's a lot of information out there about how, you know, one of the producers who got really close to him in his later years and was producing a lot for him, said that Mike didn't talk like that. The soft-spoken sort of talking was a facade. It was a way for him to be more like less threatening. And he knew that that persona would go further. Once he became super powerful, he just was very intentional about, I can't be Malcolm X and have this kind of power financially over the music industry.
It's a lot of people with stories like that. Like, I went and met Mike and he was talking normal. Like his voice was deep.
And Mike was like us, even though he's a lot older than us. He was a child, sort of like in the sense as an adult, to the point where he enjoyed the 80s things we enjoyed.
Right. Like
he was indulging in the things as if he was our age. And so Mike got into the karate and all that stuff. And there's a tale he beat Tupac up over Kidana. That's his niece. And he's like, you can't be talking to her like that. Let's go in this room real quick.
I think he the godfather.
Shoot the fair one.
We got Square Slim.
And apparently Tupac got whooped.
I know we got to get into
Tupac like 5 inches shorter than Mike.
That's true. Yeah, he a little dude.
And people be forgetting, man, Tupac was a artist and like
he was an actor.
Yes.
Right. But before we get into Invincible Live, we kind of mentioned it a little bit, but I didn't want to neglect Coleman Domingo's portrayal and even like the prosthetics and like Joe, he scared me, and I'm watching the thing like if I was one of them Jackson kids, like he was. Coleman did a really good job. I just didn't want to not discuss his performance, and you know we mentioned that Mike was the centerpiece, but Joe was a big centerpiece too. And I think it's a testament to the family, all pretty much, you know, most of the family was involved. Again, we talked about those that didn't want to participate, but they all seem to be on the same accord when it comes to Joe and, you know, his reign of terror on the family that pushed them to stardom, but also left them with a lot of, you know, emotional scars and baggage.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job. Funny story. I didn't meet Joe Jackson, but he walked right in front of me. He also had a pretty large security contingent at all times, but I was staying at a hotel in Las Vegas. Happened to be a recommendation off the strip. It's right behind the strip. And it is particularly for celebrities who don't want to be in big casinos where all the people are. And he just happened to walk into the lobby while I was sitting there checking in, and he was checking in at the same time. He had big security guards with him. He's a little dude too. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to see. Like, you just get this again, I think, idea of like Big Bad Joe whooping his kids.
Right.
But he was a little dude.
Yep. Did you know about the Don King?
Nah,
connection?
I didn't know about that.
That was an interesting part of the story too, that him and John King linked up and he went to Don King to fund the Jacksons tour, and Don was like, yo, if Mike ain't involved, I'm not putting no money in on it.
Don just happened to have an inside connection because of boxing with Pepsi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike and everybody at that time was like, Coke was everything.
Yeah.
Pepsi was trying to they were trying to create themselves as the new generation. And Mike would not have done that if it wasn't for that connection. So that all just and then Mike wouldn't have got burned.
Right.
Like it just was a cascading effect all because of Joe, man.
And they touched on it just slightly, but a lot of people don't think he would have had his addiction issues and substance issues if he didn't have those burns because, apparently he was in a lot of pain because of it.
Right.
And, they got him to kind of take some of the pills and stuff to kind of mitigate that. And they think that was the slippery slope getting him to,
That's definitely possible because getting burned, that pain lingers.
I thought it was a hair burn that maybe would leave you bald. What I didn't realize was that it was so third degree and left nerve damage.
Yep.
And he had grafting, and it was
and
almost
burned
like
his face too, right?
Well, maybe, yeah, but it was so bad that they give a brief description in the movie that helped me realize, it was back then. It was told to him like this is going to be almost like a lifelong recovery. Like you're just going to be.
And I didn't realize that as a kid. Like I just kind of thought it was like you said, like he got burned and he was injured, but he was okay. I didn't realize that like his life was in jeopardy, his career was in jeopardy. Like they didn't really think that Mike was going to necessarily recover the way that he did. And in some ways, people argue that he didn't necessarily. You know what I mean? Like he never was quite the same.
Yeah. So.
All right, man. I guess we hit enough on Mike. I really wish John was here, man, because this is one of the few things he has actually given some positive feedback on probably in the last year and a half.
Well, they gave him a new pseudonym. I love it. We call him the Critic from now on.
Hated it. But it's funny, man, because Invincible is, of course, a comic book by Robert Kirkman, who also did The Walking Dead. But Dane and myself have been a fan of this for years, and we were trying to tell and go back and listen to some of our other reviews from the previous seasons, especially last season when Jonathan was very critical. It was taking too long. Mark is a simp. He's a punk. He keep going back and forth. I'm done with this show. To what is going to be his review.
Too. Don't let Loft off the hook. Loft was co-signing everything John was saying.
Well, they just turned the page or the corner because
we kept saying
it went from him simping with his girl to his daggone brother, man.
We
getting on everybody's nerves.
We kept saying, just wait. Just wait. We also said this joint is moving super fast. So
and so we're about halfway through, probably. Dang, you would think a little more.
I've been seeing some people say, "Here's where we are," and showing like halfway through the.
So we almost. I think we almost halfway.
Yeah, we're right there. So, I mean, I guess, Dane, man, I'll let you lead, but what are y'all thoughts? Or maybe even it's better from Loft because you
if I start,
don't really
I think
have a perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, what is your thoughts on this? Not reading the comic books, coming from last season.
Let me just say, I have not seen a response on social media to Invincible like this since it's been out. So that says a lot about this season in particular. I'll just say that first and foremost.
That also
and most of those people didn't read the comics, right?
Right.
That's what I've seen. It's people reacting to the cartoon as if they have never seen it, never heard the story.
We knew it was coming.
So I will say that first and foremost. I, along with the rest of them, felt like this season pivoted into a way of far more of a more action hero, superhero dynamic of storyline that I think people can appreciate if you're dealing with people with superpowers like at this level.
Right.
They introduced, I would almost say, even more like an Avengers type dynamic where all these different people are teaming up to go up against go to war with the Viltrumites. And I think I'll just say that that was great, but I think just some of the fights and how, I don't know, man, like the first earlier seasons, which I guess is part of what Invincible is super gory, stuff in comic books that's very not normal within Marvel and DC.
Mm-hmm.
These were like fights that wouldn't necessarily lead to some of that for the most part, but they were just like great sequences that I thought made the episodes really have a far more entertaining value. And then you had these characters and villains, to me, that make the show elevated to a point that it's like, yeah, this is what I want to watch. I want to know that Conquest is not just going to get smacked up after he conveniently loses strength somehow and Mark is able to overcome it. That whole repetitive cycle, he's beating up the main character and then finally he finds his strengths and beats him up. Like, I'm so tired of that. Then you got introduced to all these other characters, and then you have sort of like good guys as well, showing you the best that they could do. So the time travel wasn't really all involved. Like, it just got back to a simplistic storyline that I felt like just was a good pocket to sit in.
Yeah, focusing on, and again, they did a lot, especially because, and I'm gonna make some comparisons to Dragon Ball Z too along the way, but there was a lot with those first seasons where they had to build up the Viltrumites, build up Mark. So there are a lot of like secondary, but ultimately it's the Viltrumites that are the big bad. And now we're finally getting to that where we're seeing, you know, Thrag and everybody else come through, and you're like, oh man, these dudes are a threat. And this is what Mark has been trying to get stronger, been trying to train for, what Nolan has been warning him about. The whole universe has to come together to kind of fight this big bad.
We also have had to go through the evolution of Mark for a reason. Like, halfway through this season, I started saying in our chat, James, this is what we've been telling them to wait for.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it doesn't make as much sense of how we get here without you realizing that the Viltrumite DNA works a certain way, and people don't necessarily die from stuff that you would think would automatically take them out. And you had to realize that Mark gets stronger, because where the story goes from here on, things start to progress a little quicker as far as them fighting, and how, like, people think the power levels are a little inconsistent right now. It's really not that inconsistent. What they're trying to show is that when you go through something as a Viltrumite, you essentially come back better when you survive it. And
so
and you learn how to control your powers better as you survive it. So when Mark goes through these things, every time he's gotten stronger, and then he's faced with somebody stronger than the last time, and he gets his ass kicked again.
Remember when I think last season they showed that he found that he needed to get stronger, and he was doing them workouts with
right.
I don't know, Cecil. Yes.
Yeah.
Does in the comics, was that actually helping him get stronger too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, until he faced the Viltrumites in that war.
Yeah.
Well, until he faced Conquest.
Right.
And
Conquest was like...
And that's why it's funny, and I don't know, man, I've never heard Robert Kirkman say this, but I don't know if he took a little influence from Dragon Ball Z, because it really is the same. Instead of the Viltrumites and Dragon Ball Z, it's the Saiyans. Goku is here as a human Saiyan, and the Saiyans are coming to take over, and the whole thing is about him getting stronger. And every time he gets beat, he gets stronger, he does training. The Saiyans are from a planet that's a warrior planet. Their gravity's higher, so they're that much stronger. They have to assemble Earth's greatest warriors to kind of fight them, but ultimately it falls on him. So there's a lot of parallels there as you grow. But I always like this just because as an athlete or as a fighter, like, that's why so many of these fighters like Invincible and like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, because it says, you know, the more that you train, you grow. And that's kind of, you feel it. You know, you unlock new powers. Like, as an athlete,
know you lived it, Bruce Leroy.
right.
Bruce Lee, here go Bruce Leroy telling us
next level unlocked, and you know, that's basically what it is. Like, every loss that you take in the gym, you know, helps you ultimately.
So what finally broke in you that made that glow just come alive?
Look, James' glow not even yellow no more. His joint like hot white right now.
It's funny y'all say that, because Dragon Ball Z also had, you know, when you became a Saiyan, you had that, and, you know, and as they progress, it went from like yellow to red and then purple. It gets crazy, but and Invincible doesn't go that far, but I really like the trials and tribulations. And that leads me to a point that I just definitely don't want to skip over. When he fought Conquest, and again, it was just as impactful in the comic book. I don't know if there's any easy way, but I love how it wasn't just an easy win. Like, basically, Mark died or was willing to die to stop Conquest, and vice versa. And that part was just the way they drug it out, and it wasn't like a quick, we both died. Like, you felt them killing each other. And
Bro,
this is painful and uncomfortable.
That jump was so rough to watch, and it's like, why is it so bad when it's an animation? Like, and it's crazy because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm watching it, and I'm like,
it was hours. I was like, man, this is still going.
But the funny thing is, James, I think they did that scene that way for us, for the people who read the comics, because we watching it and we're like, okay, when is he going to do it? When is he going to do it? He still ain't done it. Why he ain't done it yet? And then when he does it, he's like, all right, it's over. Oh no, it's not over. Nope.
So I gotta. This is a question I've been dying to ask y'all based on that moment. There are rumors about it. Do you all fully think that they can do justice with a live action Invincible?
No.
I don't think they can.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's too woven
into this show to be gory.
It's too gory of a comic and an animated show at this point to reproduce that stuff in a movie and it not be like, okay, this is NC-17, like which is
because horror does it, but horror is not trying to make back $200 million budget.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And then even like stuff like The Boys, it's almost like, I don't know, it would have to either be over the top, or like, I just don't think it would translate. Well.
Stuff like The Boys,
do
maybe
so much crazy stuff, like as far as the action and the way they're flying around and stuff. I just think it would be difficult at this point.
Stuff like The Boys probably makes them feel like they can figure out a way to do it. I just don't know if that works for a 2-hour movie the way it does for a TV show.
I know they'll do it. I know they'll figure out a alternative. But I guess what I'm getting at is that when you do a watered down Conquest versus Mark moment, you ain't going to have the same impact.
Yeah.
So you would have to really figure out a way to draw get the audience in there.
Even the first Mark versus Conquest fight, Mark broke both of his hands to bits and headbutted that man to death.
Yeah. He literally took Oliver's and stretched his skin almost apart, and almost had his eye pop, and his eye about to pop out.
And Oliver annoyed me in the comic books, but in the animated version, I just didn't realize how many L's he takes. He just don't be winning.
He gets backslapped.
And I know there's things to come, but man,
but he starts out from a weaker place than even Mark did, because the alien race that he came from, they die in months.
Right.
So,
And like, even going back to, even if you have to do the first, I don't know what you want to call it, volume of Invincible. Even Mark versus Nolan, that first fight when Nolan beats him to a pulp.
Beat him into the side of the mountain. I was so shocked that jump was so fast in this show. When it happened, I was like, they're doing it already?
Because that was all the first season, right?
Yeah.
But comic book wise, it felt like it took forever to get to that point.
Yeah, it was like the first year in the comics.
So, I mean, they basically have worked on just helping us establish there's just certain levels to the strength, and that these Viltrumites are just a problem because they're basically OP, and everybody else is like, they're also out for universe domination. So as the unified villain against all, we get introduced to these new characters who are in the fight that they think have some ability that can contribute to fighting against the Viltrumites, which I liked, because I ain't necessarily love all the characters. Alan really gets on my nerves. I don't know if it's
because it's Seth
his
Rogen,
voice.
Man.
I think it's that. Rogen. I think that's what it is mostly.
But
I also Alan feel like he just don't be fighting with a serious. There's life and death on the line. He's always like joking.
So the difference between Alan in the comics versus Alan on the show is Alan on the show is comic relief, and in the comics he doesn't necessarily come across as comic relief.
Okay.
So I think that's the Seth Rogen effect.
Yeah. Right.
And there are times that I hate it too, because I'm like, nah, Alan's supposed to be a little sneaky right now. He ain't supposed to be like funny right now.
Right.
Because there's going to be stuff in season 5, and I pray John already found some spoilers, but I pray y'all don't find too many spoilers for season 5 before season 5 comes out, because there's some stuff that's going to happen in season 5 that is going to completely change the way you feel about certain characters at times. And it's going to be, I mean, I don't think we have anything as gory as Mark's guts, intestines getting pulled out, but it's some stuff that's like, oh wow, they really put this in the comic book and they put this on TV, like
right.
Yeah.
Going back to what Love said, I did like that journey that they were all and I liked it as much in the comic books too, when they were going around and they were getting Battle Beast and, recruiting these heroes and trying to get to the planet with the little monsters and, using Nolan.
Can't believe what they did to my man Battle Beast.
Wait,
Beast.
so
I
thought Battle Beast was one of these dudes that's like, I'm the last of my race and I just want to find the best warrior.
He's not necessarily
went
the
to his
last,
planet.
He's not necessarily the last of his race, but he could not find a good competitor on his planet of his race.
Okay.
He punished everybody on his planet. Like, y'all weak. Let me go find some real.
And if I remember from the comics, and that's one of the things that disappointed me because he was one of my favorite characters, and probably not even me, but so much so he got his own spinoff. But he was having difficulty finding challenges throughout the universe. You know what I'm saying? So he's a beast, literally.
Right.
So I was surprised at the way that he was portrayed in this, where it almost seemed like they turned down his power level to elevate Thrag and the crew in a way. But Dane, what did you think? Did you think that Battle Beast wasn't quite the Battle Beast that we knew from the comic book?
Absolutely not. And I don't know. Battle Beast is almost like having the boogeyman fight for the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like he should be like in the battle, like smacking people like Thrag was, but smacking some of the Viltrumites like Thrag was.
Yeah,
but
the
then
lower level, like he was taking them out in the comics.
And then when somebody get a good hit on him and like say a tooth falls out, he's like, I love it more. Like he should really be dark and like almost scary in the way that he is interacting with them. Now I get, he can't fly, so in outer space he don't have the leverage he had. But if you're gonna put the little space pack on his back, then make it actually work well enough for him to really fight. So we can see what he about, because at this point there's something that happens that involves Battle Beast, and I'm like, how do we get to that point from what we've seen so far? It's not going to add up well. So
you know what I love about Invincible too, but just how this season did a good job overall. So Invincible is much like The Boys. In some ways it does a parody of characters that already exist.
Yeah.
And that was very Image's whole thing, man. Image comic books was really a lot of these independent writers that, took liberties and, kind of poke fun at DC and Marvel being the big dogs and say, well, what if we made this more realistic, or we took these characters and put them in real life scenarios?
So in the first season, the first episode, actually, when Nolan kills the original Guardians of the Galaxy group, that's supposed to be displaying that Nolan is better than all of the Justice League. And although Superman fanatics and Superman fanboys don't want to subscribe to it, they were saying that what's his name, the one that can't die,
the Immortal
was supposed to be Superman. And that was them saying, like, even Superman gets punished by Nolan. Of course, the world took that and be like, well, you see what Superman did in the comic books here, and what Superman did in the comic books here, and that goes to what James said, like, writers take liberties and they make people stronger than we think they are, or to have them do amazing things, and then it doesn't compare to what somebody else might write in a totally different comic book. So it's all different universes, different worlds, so it's hard to compare truthfully. But Nolan and Thrag and them are supposed to be on that Superman level, quote unquote. So it's hard to do some of the level setting comparisons.
But it makes it fun. It's kind of like greatest of all time. But you know what I mean? Like, you'll never really know, but it's fun to have the debate.
The Superman fanboys have been they are up at arms. I mean, they come in with all kinds of low key. The stuff is tight. Like that Superman, if he was raised a Viltrumite joint,
that AI, man,
that joint is like that.
I'm still getting used to this AI world, but there's some instances where I'm like, hey, I'm kind of glad it exists.
Somebody is going to make a full-length movie and put it on YouTube, and it's going to be awesome.
Like, because that joint is 9 parts right now.
Right.
That joint is tough.
But what I was saying is that I just appreciate being able to like put it all together and seeing them interact. Like in a lot of ways, they wouldn't really fight, right?
Yeah.
And they would just be out there, and then they would bring up some dudes made out of rocks randomly that's robbing a bank, and then you just see Rexplode and all these dudes coming to the rescue. This was like a very team-based, like, we have a mission, we have war.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just like that storyline, and this season just being about that was just, I don't know, it just got rid of the fluff.
Right.
And allowed me to see
and as
all these like
some
Tech Jacket doing cool stuff. And
I also think that there's a part of it that is trying to display that even though he's a teenager or college age kid, still learning his way. Because, you know, these first 4 seasons, I think he's hit 21 at this point.
Right.
Mm.
So you know, he's still young, and we would look at him as a kid at that age. But it's like, with these powers and responsibilities in the way you're growing, you getting thrown in the fire, whether you're ready for it or not.
And I think it just is a testament to the threat that the Viltrumites are. Like, you know, the episodes of the week where we had, like, you know, like you said, the rock guy. And what was the brain?
To do with the robot.
Yeah, and he would pop back. And, like, you know, it was some of these reoccurring villains. But I think that also lent to the fact that, like, you know, poking fun at the Batmans and the Supermans where these superheroes keep coming back.
Stuff like
and some of the things like Jonathan would say, and then some of the ethical questions where it's like, I need to just kill these dudes because they keep coming back.
Right.
They're hurting people that I love. And it kind of built on some of those themes and got us to this level where we have Mark having to make these real life or death decisions because now he's up against the Viltrumites and he's learned that lesson, and he's up against the enemy that isn't going to really have any grace, you know, especially with Thrag.
So to that point, I saw a clip of one of those podcasts where it's a couple of guys that talk about this stuff similarly to how we do, and they had Kirkman on. And they talked about what was their favorite episode and then what was their least favorite episode. And universally, the least favorite episode was the episode in hell. And Kirkman sort of like fell on his sword. And he was like, as a writer, I was like, I want something new and original, and I wanted to flesh out one of my favorite characters.
Which we thought might be the case.
And he said, but I totally wrote that whole episode myself. I didn't have any other writers on it. And I love that episode. It's my favorite episode. But in hindsight, it's terrible for this season.
Yeah.
Because why do I need to have a full episode in hell with Damien Darkblood when the point of the season is the Viltrumite War?
Yeah.
So he actually fell on his sword.
I was literally thinking through that episode, where is this going to come back and be a part of? Like, is he going to join them? Like, and then I started to realize it don't have no connective tissue to it. So
you know what's ironic too is that Dan, you and Jonathan, you know, with Lee Pace being Thrag, had gotten into what's our show on Apple?
Foundation.
Like at the same time.
And that's all I heard.
They do a really good job of picking the right voice. Like when you look at the roster of actors and actresses, a lot of them are for Walking Dead and stuff like that, but they pick a lot of good people. But I also, and this is probably totally on a different topic, but Love mentioned it earlier. Now? I love the social media stuff where you like, you know, they're making fun of like Thrag having to shape up. And what's the black Viltrumite?
Lucas.
He's showing up at cookouts.
Hey, the Lucas stuff is hilarious.
Oh, it's making me die.
The funny thing is, the first thing I thought about Lucas was the same thing I see a lot of people noticing. Is like, why Lucas got a gut on that? Lucan, excuse me. Why Lucan got a gut on the animated joint, but in the comic book, he was swole, he was ripped, he got a 6-pack, but in this joint he got a gut, and everybody is like, oh, I guess they wanted him to see.
Did y'all
realistic.
See the one where they picked where they really are here and they ain't slick, and they was like saying that Steve Harvey was one because of the mustaches.
That is hilarious.
I thought that was so
funny.
There's a bunch of actresses they say and look like Anissa too.
Yeah. But then they got these, like basically these influencers who look like them, who are doing parodies themselves. So they got this dude who works out and has the mustache. And he looks like Thrag. I like him.
And he'd be like doing like shape up and fade jokes.
Then they got the Lucan dude, that black dude that looks like him, and they be responding to each other. I just think that's so funny.
It's hilarious. It's funny too. I'm actually surprised that it's something I didn't think about until we started getting the parodies that usually Invincible and some of the Image comic books are kind of good with moving away from some of the tropes that and one of them is everything tends to happen in the United States. But it seems like all the Viltrumites are in the USA or,
But I don't know if they are, because every time we see Mark fly around the world and like some beach gets destroyed,
that's true.
That could be Miami or it could be Saudi Arabia or Brazil. So it's hard to tell because they never specify really where they are.
Yeah, and just going back to that, I am one of those Superman fanboys. But that's the reason why I don't think Superman is going to have the shelf life much longer that he always benefited from. Like I've said this on this podcast so many times. Something core to who Superman is has to change.
Yeah.
For him to have more of a legacy. It's
very strange because when Zack Snyder tried to do that, the public didn't accept it. But they also didn't run out in droves to see Superman. It's very strange. Like, he's got a weird image, man.
But you can see how things like The Boys, things like Invincible have a far more bigger reach and influence on popular culture because people just can relate and watch it. These are the things kids and teenagers are going to remember. They're not going to remember James Gunn's Superman. They're not doing cosplay as much of Superman. Like it's not resonating the way.
Oh, you're definitely gonna have some Grand Regent Thrag stuff out there.
Yes. Oh, any of these conventions coming up.
Hey, it wasn't as popular, Dane, as some of his runs with Marvel, but did you read Bendis's Superman?
No.
Action Comics run?
I'm actually not that big a fan of Superman comic books. To me, they always boring. So it's sort of like Captain America.
If you get a chance, and I know you like to get like the individual issues, but get a trade and actually read Action Comics. They did like Bendis can write, man. I just recently picked him up myself because I was never a big Superman, and you liked Naomi. It kind of has that feel. Like Bendis does a real good job of grounding it and making it more interesting and coming up with new villains and new heroes.
You live around the corner. We need to go ahead and just you pull out your trades, I pull out my trades, and we do a swap.
But it's worth your time, man. I know you got a lot of stuff to do and other things to read, but if whatever comes your way, check it out, because I was actually more impressed than I thought, because I'm not a big Superman guy for some of the reasons that Loft said, but Bendis brings that approach kind of like he did with Falcon and Black Panther and some of the other Ultimate Universe people, Captain America, that he made a lot more interesting in our current time. That had that cheesy,
the Avengers.
Avengers, good old boy, image from before. So sorry, I sidelined that, but I did want to ask, there's a lot of controversy around it, and this is probably something Jonathan, was happy to wallow in. What do y'all think of the animation? Because they're saying that it's kind of dropped off from season 1, and then really compared to the comic books, there's a big difference. Like, dang, you mentioned Lucan's gut, and you know what I mean? Like, I didn't really, I noticed once people started mentioning it, but I didn't think about it in the moment. But what do y'all think about the animation?
I think I was sort of similar to you. Like, there were times where I was like, why didn't they make that fight look a little bit tighter? But for the most part, like just the regular stuff, if it wasn't an action scene, it didn't really stand out to me that much. And then when people started naming scenes like on social media, then I was like, oh dang, that don't look the same as it did 2 seasons ago.
That's when it got me, when they did the side-by-side comparisons and memory and everything else. I didn't catch it in the moment.
What stood out to me? The way Battle Beast looked. I kept thinking, why does he look like that?
None of it. I think for me, some of it is just there tends to be more detail, more of an anime effect. Let's just say Mark hits the planet and creates sort of like a shockwave or something.
Right.
There's just more detail in some scenes than there are in others. But I tend to not care as much about animation unless there's just a significant drop off. And I used to like Justice League and the DC animations where they specifically go with more of a cell shaded 2-dimensional look. So I really wasn't a critic of that. I mean, I noticed it when it started to become a critique online, but I didn't really have any issues while I was watching it.
Yeah, I think they could have done a better job of adding detail to the characters' looks. But some of the action animation didn't bother me so much. And like I said, until you really saw.
Yeah.
And
what bothered me the most was
social
seeing
media.
how much the budget was, seeing that that's what we get for that budget.
Right.
But like watching it, it wasn't like a visceral reaction to it. And then there were also people like showing what people are doing like in Japan with like way lower budget. And I was like, oh yeah. But then I think the guy came out and was like, well, y'all have to understand this is all because of time. It's not
crunch. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it's not because we don't know or not because of resources. Sense. He said it's just the time. It takes a lot to do these frames.
Yeah, because I'd rather get it quicker than to have to wait 3 years for the next season.
Yeah. And one of the things that I like too, and again, having the time to do it in the comic book makes more sense, and you got to put the detail into each frame because it's not moving. This comic, like the way they move so quickly and fast, like I think that helps because the action is portrayed and they're, people are exploding and everything else. It's a little different seeing it in full motion.
What's my man with the gun, the Ray that shoots through anything?
I keep forgetting his name, man. It'll come to me.
Something Ryder.
Yeah.
When he shot the joint at Thrag, and Thrag just sort of like, he don't even weave the joint. His body just floats back a second and don't move.
Right.
That's why that was the instant that I was like, okay, was that on purpose?
Right.
like, because I had already started to hear the stuff about the animation at that point. Because you really heard a lot of the animation on the episode before when Mark and Conquest fought again. But when Thrag started getting loose in that episode, I was like, oh no, that was for effect. That was on purpose. Like that joint. Like the one thing that I have absolutely no complaints with is how they did Thrag in this
Space Racer.
Space Racer, that's his name. Yeah, but the way that they animated Thrag, the way that they did the fighting scenes with Thrag, and it wasn't even that he was necessarily doing stuff that was the tightest looking in the world. It was just how they say the way he was oil farming.
Talk about that. Talk about that uppercut. Hey.
Bruh, that was one of the tightest joints. Yeah. So that was a definitive display on what they say how the Viltrumite DNA works. They don't necessarily like fly. They just move their cells. So like he moved the cells, he moved his arm back at such a force that the wind on the planet drew everything towards him. It created a vacuum and brought Nolan close to him. Nolan, who is vicious, like strong as I don't know what, drew him in for the uppercut and sent that man flying so hard that man Thrag got into space and started hitting other people before Nolan stopped.
Wait, but Nolan also broke the sound barrier.
Yeah,
in the air.
And was hitting bodies and still couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Like Thrag had almost destroyed what's the little brother name?
Oliver
almost destroyed Oliver and backhanded Mark before Nolan could stop his momentum.
Yeah.
That jump was crazy.
It's crazy. But then, and again, that's the stuff that I like when they come up with new concepts. Because I get this is like pseudoscience when it comes to it. And there's always holes in these theories and stuff. But I always think that
But that's why we watch this stuff. Right. That's why we watch superhero content.
Because again, Dragon Ball Z did a cool thing where they were moving so fast that people couldn't see the fight. Like they literally could kind of just hear it, and it would be like all over the world. You hear explosions, this and that, and like people couldn't keep up.
I cannot get past Thrag without talking about the dude that got the brother voice talking as Thrag in all the scenes on IG.
Yeah.
You seen the joint where he killed the black dude first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the IG joint, he was like, I don't think you can say that word.
Right.
He was like, you saying I can't say the N-word? He was like, nah, because you white. He's like, I'm light skinned. And then that's what he killed him.
That brings me to a point because I know we got to do Daredevil. Maybe we should have did this the other way because I hope this Daredevil don't take the steam out the energy out the room. But
it will.
Dane, what did you think about the scene on Viltrum? Because that was different from the comic books where they actually showed like Thrag and Conquest and
where
like
they showed them beforehand.
That was to show how the Viltrumite.
I thought that was so vicious because that's not something that's in the comics.
Yeah.
We don't get to see how the Viltrums had the reckoning where, their emperor got killed and then they had the whole wipe out the weakness in our nation. Because the way that it looked in the show, like they took out more than half of the Viltrumites in that joint. That joint looked like it was Conquest, Anissa, your man with the monocle, and maybe like 12 other Viltrumites still standing, but supposedly they only took out half of the population.
Which is still crazy. Because I'm like, how do you fundamentally justify and reconcile the fact that you are at a space where you feel like you're an endangered species? Yeah. So your whole notion is to spread.
They aren't there yet. When this happens, they aren't there yet. The Scourge virus has not occurred before they do this. Their emperor gets killed, and that's when the guy that's running the alliance leaves. Then after the emperor gets killed, Thrag is like, I want to call out any people who could be betrayers who are the weak in our society. They kill half of their society. Then he comes back and says, I need to take out, because now it's all the strong evil ones in his mind. I need to take them out. Send the Scourge virus. So it didn't happen yet. Where they feel like they're an endangered species.
Got it.
But just to be able to see that was crazy for me because, and the one thing that stood out the most was like, why them 3 kids jumped that one kid?
Right.
Like the one little boy, even the girl was stomping him out. Like,
that's what I really liked is like the ruthlessness. Like it wasn't age, color, creed. Everybody was just murking everybody. Is crazy.
But if you a 9-year-old stomping out another 8 or 9-year-old or 10-year-old, how old they are, you got to know all of y'all dying.
Right.
Because if these adults decide they want to kill the weak and they look at y'all as weak, y'all can't beat them.
Just a side note. Because race is such a big part of our conversations, it's just so interesting to me that they create these sort of alien worlds and then they introduce race. But then it's like the dynamics of race, do they still exist? Right? They shouldn't, right? Because racism and stuff should be sort of somewhat an American thing. But then it's just like, it just begs so many questions and you end up really falling on the fact that you're just tokenizing people because you want them to look human, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just have them be all white. So now you got black Viltrumites, right?
That's why Lucan is the one Viltrumite that's absolutely in America.
Yeah. But then it's like I'm looking at it like, kind of like why? I don't know. It's just those questions always like, why aren't there more black Viltrumites, right?
Right. Well, there was, but yeah.
And then obviously, wouldn't they be the strongest? You know what I'm saying?
That's why he said he light skinned, bro.
Yeah.
It's funny too because I don't we talked about it on here, but we talked about it in the chat. There's a show on Netflix called Dark. And I think a lot of times they do this so you can differentiate, especially in animation, between characters. Because watching that show,
Dark, everybody look the same.
It's very hard to keep up because people look the same, and it's like, man, I wish that there was, a little more variation.
Everybody in that joint got that ambiguous race look.
Yeah,
like,
and then they go through, and it goes through different generations, and this person's related to this person, and who's that again? It's almost like Game of Thrones without having some of the sigils and like the uniforms and like stuff that help you differentiate between people. Like even hair color, like there's no difference in hair color, none of that.
But I do think it's important for people to just, and I think we're far more advanced than the thinking was when you didn't have to think about those things. I think people are probably more progressive in how they think about it, but it still just shows you how oftentimes whiteness is centered for white people and they don't realize that it's that way. And a lot of critiques of things is just like, the stuff y'all be coming up with don't even make sense.
Right.
So like people just keep criticizing Superman for being powered by the sun, for being white, and stuff like that. So it's just, interesting stuff that I'm always catching.
I think some of the Invincible thing with the different races, even though they may not even look at it as a different race in their society, but it's they trying to make sure they have some representation too. Because if there are people like if everybody in that joint look like James, then it's going to be a society of people in the real world. It's like, well, how come don't none of them look like us?
Right.
So
yeah, I just
and
really,
especially
I
with
agree.
what they're getting into with them trying to blend in and all that
Yeah.
stuff, where the Viltrumites live among us. So it helps.
That's what, again, why I appreciate it, because it really is. Again, it's a reflection of like Kryptonians and just it's just like this is a different take on what y'all have been introduced to already.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we'll get into Daredevil, Born Again. Was it season 2? They're filming season 3.
Feel like season 17.
Well, it technically is if you keep the whole, canon, which they have. I think we'll do this in 2 parts. We'll just talk about our overall and then maybe get into the season finale and some of the things that happen there.
Yeah.
I guess, man, I'll just open up the floor again. I'm biased because Daredevil is one of my favorite characters. So I'm a little more lenient on this than I probably should be. So take that with a grain of salt.
You should be even madder.
Right.
But I did like this season better than last season.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I liked it better than some of the original Netflix seasons. There were some of those that like moved along very slow. I did like the action in this when there was action. I think that they did a much better job this time of letting Daredevil get busy, letting Bullseye get busy, letting Kingpin get busy. One of the things that I don't like, and it doesn't really matter, but I just wish, I like the scientific explanations behind some of these things. Like, just tell us that Bullseye or Kingpin are mutants or enhanced, or they just are kind of like, hey, they have powers and we're just supposed to kind of go along with it, but they never really give us any grounding for how they got their powers. That's just one of my pet peeves.
I said from the beginning, Kingpin should have just wore a suit, a fat suit.
Yeah.
Because I think I get it, as an actor, it's probably restrictive and it's probably hot, whatever. But I just feel like there's some way they could have built some type of suit that looked more natural to show his immense size. Then when he does stuff like this, it would have felt like Kingpin in the comics. I don't know about y'all, but in the comic books, Kingpin doesn't look human jacked. He looks like a man who is 600 pounds of muscle. Right? He just looks like a behemoth of a dude. Yeah. And a lot of times, even in the comics, people are punching him and he's just absorbing it. Like he's not a normal person.
Right.
But they just presented him as a just bald-headed tall dude that's kind of a little large.
Yeah. And I don't even mind them changing it, and even with Bullseye, but one of my things that I like about comics is origin stories to a certain extent. Like, I don't want to keep seeing Spider-Man over and over, but understanding people's power set and how they obtained it versus how other people obtained it. Like, are you a mutant? Was this a scientific experiment go wrong? Was it genetic enhancement? Like, what and how did you gain these abilities?
You definitely needed to do that for Bullseye. You have to give us an explanation how he's able to do stuff to that.
You ain't hear the explanation about him playing baseball as a kid.
But yeah, I agree with all of that, James. I think they definitely said, let's make this better, but let's do more of what it was. I wish they had just done away with it so that they had a clean slate. And this is why.
Yeah.
Because it's so much that you're trying to weave off of the original that wasn't great to begin with. So you putting lipstick on a pig. Like, I would have rather they just started from scratch. You could even say this is a different dimensions
multiverse.
You could have just said this is 626. That wasn't. The Netflix wasn't. This is the MCU version, and we're using the same characters because we want to go back to these actors. But just start from scratch.
Right.
I am so upset with this season because, albeit all that stuff is better, I like a lot of the fighting, the fact that he uses his, I don't know what you call that, cane stick nunchuck thing. The way he uses it is cool. It's cool. It's Daredevil-ish. It ain't to the extent in the comics where he jumping from rooftops and stuff, but they did a little bit of all that CGI and stuff, and it looked good.
Off the wall,
I'm cool with that. What I would have liked is just for them to create a story that's really interesting, very, even if they wanted to do the mayor, sort of, I don't know, some sort of social commentary on making him like Trump, because apparently there's a comic like that. That's fine too. But I just think, again, what we want to watch, this is so far from it. and it just walks away making me feel like there's so much on the table that could have made this great. Yeah. Daredevil is really a character that is perfect for a show, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think Daredevil's better for a show than a movie series or a franchise. And I just feel like they left so much to be desired. I think for you, James, seeing where we started and seeing improvement probably made you feel better. But I guess my viewpoint and vantage point is there was so much on the table left that could have been so dope.
Well, that gets into my second part. I think they did better with the action, but the plot significantly suffered. There were a lot of plot holes, and even reading the comic books, like having the Mayor Fist storyline was so much better in the comics. Again, Brian Michael Bendis wrote it. This one just didn't get to that level, and there are moments in this show where you almost can see they thought that they were more cerebral than they are, like trying to make it like a legal drama, which again, that's a part of the Daredevil comic books. They just didn't pull it off well at all.
That final court case.
Karen's annoying. BB's annoying.
Muse was
Lady
whack.
Muse.
Lady Muse is corny.
What was the point?
White Tiger is for what? A throwaway. That's a throwaway. Like, what about the amulet?
There were a lot of those elements that they could have done better with.
Swordsman. What?
Task force officer.
The way
he was I don't know, man.
Was he a mutant or something?
They could have done well.
The head task force officer, Jessica Jones, punched him, and he looked at her
I thought that for a second,
nothing,
but I think they was just trying to convey she got weak at that moment, which is convenient.
Again, just one of my pet peeves. Like, all right, now we get Jessica Jones, and apparently she's going to be in season 3, and maybe even have her own spinoff, and we got to deal with my powers work and don't work. And I hate that trope. I tune in to see these people with their powers going
and
through
then it's her.
Where
they should have been fixing her powers because they didn't do her powers right in the original joint.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's
And then can we
Officer Powell, that was Task Force.
Can we talk about the finale and all?
Let's get into it, man. I know we were trying to break it down overall, but
one thing that killed me was what the hell was that talking Kingpin down from the stairs ending?
It's literally the dumbest. It's the dumbest plot I've ever seen, man.
I guess this will make you happy that I turned myself in. Like, what the hell? Why are y'all not fighting? Why are y'all sitting here talking with all these people around you trying to kill him?
And why are you satisfied with him basically taking the plea deal that they said where he just goes away after killing
the beach
30 people?
He literally walked down the halls and killed citizens.
Now, I'm not going to lie. That part was tight. He was almost like a monster or something coming through that hallway. Man.
Right, but then you can't just talk that out.
And the political implications, like literally all the corruption and things that you did to the city as a leader, like you're basically a mass murderer. So
now, if his henchmen at AVT or whatever, if they did the killing, they do that very often in real life politics. They'll be he ain't doing no jail time, but he's guilty or whatever. He did the killing with his bare hands.
Blood on his hands.
Right.
And then in the courthouse.
At some point,
all of that is on CCTV.
It got to be on camera.
Yeah. Right.
and your girl, lady, whatever her name
with
is.
With her throat chop.
Yeah, I'm like, she a ninja now? Like, she taking people out all of a sudden? What's going on? And then I just knew. So when they did the courthouse thing on the steps, I thought.
Nino Brown.
No, so what I thought was, so y'all punking out. We not getting the Luke Cage intro at the end of this joint. And then they introduced Luke Cage anyway. You're like, what was the point?
That was so dumb too. Like he just finished his work. Where was he, in Africa?
They didn't really say.
I thought they said he was in Africa. But
the Madripoor, you mean?
Madripoor,
yeah.
So right when all of this is over, when all the threat of what would have been your biggest asset is a super strong, bulletproof dude, he would have mopped
the task force
up.
So
he then appears when it's this bad.
So Loth in the comics, it wasn't just it wasn't just Daredevil against Kingpin when Kingpin was the mayor.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people, and Luke Cage was one of those people.
Yeah.
And Luke Cage is the guy that goes into the courthouse and drags him out at the end.
Now that would have been tight. That would have been
so
a
that's
tight.
what I thought was about to happen.
Yeah.
That's why I thought they about to introduce Luke Cage all of a sudden, because they had mentioned him,
and
you knew they had his daughter there.
Yes.
So I thought he was going to pop up and then help save the day.
This is how I think. I think that might have happened in the comics. I think in my show, how can I make it better? Like, if I would have saw this monster of a kingpin walking people down, citizens that are, charging the courthouse, and he's killing them.
Right.
Only to like, kind of like hurt Daredevil or to some degree, or even see Matt just trying to get him to give up and having Luke show up and Luke fight him for a little bit.
Right.
Punish him and have people shooting him and everything. And Luke is just like, yeah, I showed up just in time. That's a better story and entertaining than to have Luke show up at the end to see his child and to be an absentee father.
And you get a true big reveal. You get the big reveal that, Michael Coulter is back. Okay.
Yes. The only way that's better is if him and Daredevil work together to fight all those people.
Right.
And hurt all of them. And now it's just like the
Daredevil,
realization.
so I could see them doing something like that, but
they could have did the whole team. They could have had Iron Fist too.
Which is what happened in the comic books. And funny story, when Matt goes to jail in the comics, Iron Fist is protecting Hell's Kitchen. So he dresses up and becomes like Daredevil.
He puts on the Daredevil mask.
Yeah. Which I think, I always think that's cool. I thought it was cool when T'Challa did it, and even when Elektra does it for a little bit. But it's very anticlimactic. They talked about, I did like when they fought earlier in the season, and maybe they thought they got the Kingpin versus Daredevil battle out the way, but I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like the
Jessica
courtroom.
Jones was right there. You could have had a 2-on-1.
Even though it gave parallels to Tony Stark when he was in the courtroom and revealed himself and, used his identity.
Did he reveal his identity in the comic books? I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
He did.
Daredevil does.
Okay.
That would have been a nice social dynamic to explore. The black Republicans that go and get critiqued because of their position under this administration. It's like Supes who work for Kingpin or something that, it's like you going against your own people type thing. That'd be a cool dynamic to whether he, sort of hired, Bullseye or whoever. Like, that'd just be some dope commentary to have in there. Right. Again, just keep it simple, man. All this courtroom drama, all this freaking Vanessa.
I know.
All that stuff is just dumb, man. And I just don't know what writers. I do know, but I just think you got to stop hiring writers who want to do that with these materials and these.
Right, like make them bigger than they are. Like, I get it, and it's like when you have a Penguin or you have something that kind of transcends and becomes more than just a superhero comic book thing. But again, it's Daredevil. It's a TV show. Like, at the base, you have to remember, we always talk about the core audience. You have to make sure that you have that core before you start. Like, it's almost like they started thinking it was going to be this grand, big time. We're going to have this writing and it's going to be deep and people are going to be, don't overthink it. Just make it what it is.
If you wanted to take Punisher and make a war drama.
Where was Punisher?
Yeah. If you wanted to make.
I guess we'll find out.
Where was Peter? For real, man. Like, but at least, I just can't see Spider-Man not going down the block to see what's going on.
I feel you, and I agree completely. But at least with Peter, we have never seen him in this show. The Punisher has been on the last 2-3 seasons
that's
of
his
this
homeboy. Yeah, right. But yeah, if you wanted to make Penguin a gangster show, nobody's gonna have a problem when it's well-written gangster drama.
Right.
When you take a superhero and not see that this is just a certain type of product that we need to develop for a certain type of fan.
Right.
It just baffles my mind. Like, what's my man that does Mandalorian? He's a fan of
Filoni.
No,
the one that did Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Favreau.
John Favreau.
Favreau was a fan. He understands the fans and is like, I'm also good at making this stuff.
That man,
that's the type of people that need to do this stuff.
Works perfect for like a Daredevil, you know what I mean? Or an Iron Fist, or even a Luke Cage. Also, maybe they'll explain it, but I just don't know how Luke Cage, power to the people, protect Harlem, stick up for the underdog, been to jail, goes and working for Matthew Lillard, CIA guy, Then they attack his family. So I'm just curious.
You do different things when you get a kid and got to put food on that table, bro.
I guess, man. But you Luke Cage. Like it seemed like they took his character.
Luke Cage
ain't Falcon. He ain't going, bro.
Yeah, Luke Cage wasn't.
I did enough of that in the hood.
Yeah, Luke Cage wasn't getting no money being Luke Cage in Harlem.
Right. Yeah, but that
in the barbershop, it ain't making no money in the barbershop. He ain't gonna be selling no food plates.
The Luke Cage we got from the comics was a mayor. He was the leader of the Avengers.
He becomes the mayor after he take down Kingpin. Now that can't even happen.
Yeah, but like I guess he's doing CIA, Black Ops, and I guess you only need one super powered assassin at a time for whatever covert Jason Bourne stuff they doing, and now he's got Bullseye.
Yeah, that was a
they're turning into more of a and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make us a Bullseye spinoff where he's an anti-hero.
They absolutely going to try and do that.
Which I love the character of Bullseye in the comic books, but it's not. I don't need that.
He's not Deadpool though. He's not Deadpool.
Yeah, he's not really any. He's super psychotic. That's like making the Joker an anti-hero. You know what I mean? For some of the comparisons, if you want to compare, because Marvel. This is Marvel's kind of Batman, Daredevil. They kind of go hand in hand. Like
I literally was waiting.
Weird.
At the end of the credits, I fast forwarded to see if it said Daredevil will return in Avengers Doomsday. Because they've been doing that with a lot of the characters.
Yeah. Well, he gonna be in Spider-Man.
Yeah, the rumor is he's gonna be in Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
He was digitally removed, and it looks like the hand that Spider-Man's fighting, which
and
why
Spider-Man.
A lot of people thought we were gonna see Peter in this, and like the mayor that was the consultant. She's gonna become the mayor in Spider-Man. People put that together.
I almost forgot what show did he pop up in? Was it a movie or was he?
It was Spider-Man. It was the last Spider-Man joint.
Daredevil lawyer when he revealed.
So the theory is that Spider-Man is gonna break Daredevil out of jail. Out of prison, and he's gonna be the one to help Daredevil fight the Hand. I mean, help Spider-Man fight the Hand.
So some people also felt there was a correlation with people dressing up as Daredevil and becoming rebels and having this, contingent storm the courthouse. They felt like the Hand and all the red looked similar.
That's true. That is true.
So I was like, I think they're gonna be different, but. That's something that stuck out to me.
But if Punisher is in Spider-Man for sure, and Incredible Hulk is in Spider-Man for sure, and they drop Daredevil as a surprise, if that does happen, does that mean we getting all of the team? We getting Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist?
I don't think in Spider-Man. But and unless it's like an Easter egg that leads into Daredevil Born Again season 3, I think that's where they show up.
What's the name of that team, James?
The Defenders.
The Defenders. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh man, there was something else I wanted. Oh yeah, and I guess maybe we find out in season 3. But like, did Buck live? Did he die? How'd they get out the courtroom? Like, she put the little coat over him after she throat chopped dude, and then we got the ending where she was looking in the mirror or whatever. But it was very inconclusive on what happened to Buck and how they escaped. Did they just let them all leave? Like, hey, y'all are hostages.
Who is he in the comics?
He's he is what he was in the show. Like,
he's not a supervillain.
No, but he's very trained and he's real.
They did a good job with Buck.
Yeah, he's one of the few characters that I was like, all right, this character is actually done well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say I was relieved because in like the first couple episodes, I thought that they were going to build Karen into some like superhuman ninja fighter.
It did feel like
when
that.
They didn't, they gave her just enough skills to kind of like, hey, you playing in this world, but they didn't take it too far.
You know what I thought they were leading to? I thought it was going to be his ex versus his current. I thought they were going to have a fight.
And that's still,
I think that's season 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Because remember, they had their back and forth when she was doing her psychological exam.
He keep a lot of baddies in this show.
He do, though.
Karen ain't never been bad, man.
Nah,
I don't know why.
She all right. She all right to me.
Jonathan Bad is going to come at you. Although I think
I said that in season 1 of this joint that she didn't look that good.
Well, Lady Muse is bad.
Heather, she crazy, but
Lady Muse
is definitely a level up.
BB is bad.
I've been said that though. I said that from day one. I'm like, Lady Muse, got it.
Yeah. And then what, Elektra and everything. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Matt Murdock for a blind dude. He be doing his thing.
Matt Murdock a whore in the comics. So,
yeah. Oh, and don't forget, like we want to forget, but don't forget he knocked down Jen, aka She-Hulk.
Hell yeah. That's what I mean. He just be going in.
I know he doesn't. It's not just because of my looks.
Right.
It's true.
There's even more reason why him and Batman are they like kindred spirits.
They are, man.
They just
they
got
live
the
in each other.
names.
I was going to say they live in each other's lives.
But they should be the opposite. They should just flip flop their moniker.
Detective, the detective should be the blind lawyer.
I think that's it. Y'all got anything else on Daredevil? I think we.
I mean, I'm trying not to beat it up too much, Paul.
So,
but,
I guess overall, what would you give? And I guess we still got to give Invincible like a score. So let's score Invincible and Daredevil, and then we right at the point. Maybe we can get into a little bit of news, or we can wrap it, save it for next time. I did at least maybe want to talk about the X-Men stuff, and then we'll wrap. But let's give our reviews. Hit X-Men, and then maybe we can save the rest depending on time.
Yeah, I'm giving Daredevil like a 6.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I gave the other season, but this is a little better than that.
Yeah.
But it's super disappointing. And I think even if it isn't rating wise, it's just, I think I'm more disappointed because this is your second season of being able to do Born Again and improve it in a way that makes it for the fans. And it's just not, man. Invincible, I'd probably give it an 8. And again, I'm rating it against Invincible and what I think that should be, not against all the content on a similar scale.
Invincible is the easiest one. That's a 8.5. You know, it's not quite going to be comparable to X-Men 97 just yet, but it's getting there. Daredevil, I think the first season of Born Again, I gave that joint a 4.5. I think that's the lowest rating I've handed out on this joint so far. This is probably a 5.5 for me.
Yeah.
Like it was a struggle at the beginning for me. I sped through the end, but the beginning, man, I struggled. Them first 3 episodes almost took me out of this joint.
Yeah.
I think Daredevil for me probably around a 7. Like I said, I'm biased, but I'm not going.
How the hell you get this on a 7?
I'm not going to argue with y'all for it being a 6. I was just happy to see Daredevil do Daredevil-like things.
Yeah.
It's just the plot was so bad. What confuses me, as a Daredevil fan and a fan of the original, is just to see. And we talked about the critics during Michael, like. Everyone seems to like Daredevil. It gets high ratings. The viewership, I think they said, was down, but when it comes to like the critics and the audience score, it's always rated high. And I'm like, I just don't know what I'm missing.
You know what I think? I'm beginning to wonder, I should say. Are they rating this as this is what we expect from a comic show versus just rating it against good quality shows, good quality, programming, and because there's no way you could compare this joint to some of the other stuff that we've got in the last couple of years, like a Foundation or something like that,
right?
And rate it high.
Yeah, I don't get it. Again, probably biased, but I'm right up there with Invincible, 8.59, because again, they did a good job of doing exactly what I expected, bringing things to life. They sprinkled in a couple new things. The Damien Dark stuff I didn't like. The Viltrumite world I did. Seeing some of this stuff actually be brought from the page and animated in motion was cool to see. So yeah, again, biased, but really enjoyed Invincible. So I'm right along with Dane, maybe a little bit higher, putting it like at a 9-ish. But yeah, I had a good time, and I could watch it again.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, and I just might, ain't a whole lot coming out. I guess we got a bunch of movies and stuff coming up, but like far as shows, I could probably run through Invincible really quick. Oh, before we get to news, that was one of the issues I also had with Daredevil, where I feel like it'd have been maybe better or well received for me, at least for my viewing experience, if they had just dropped it. Doing the week to week for this one. It made it more of a struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know we're up against time, but I did want to get to some news real quick. Mainly because we got Dane here and it's X-Men news.
Yeah.
Two big things. He mentioned X-Men 97, which he rated as a 9 above Invincible, maybe even closer to a 9.5. That drops June 13th, which is
Season
right
2.
around the corner now.
Which scares me. I'm gonna be
yeah.
honest. That's gonna scare me because they made some edits and some changes once they got rid of
even with the writers.
my
I can't
man.
remember the dude's name.
Yeah, when they got rid of him, the producer writer from the first season, they started to change some stuff. And if they don't bring Gambit back by the end of this season, some heads need to roll.
That probably deserves a quick rewatch too before watching the new season, just to reacclimate.
Oh, I watch that jump like once every quarter. You know? Yeah.
So I know you ain't slipping. So have y'all heard the new premise that it's kind of been some leaks going around and rumors about what the live action X-Men is going to look like? The rumor is that they're not going to focus on Wolverine, which I think is a good thing. Again, and I love Wolverine. He's one of my favorite characters. Again, I reckon him to like the street level version of the X-Men when it comes to power sets and everything. There was something else with it too, Lof, wasn't it? That they're going to focus on the core group.
The original, that the focus would be a couple things. They said that they're going to avoid like the origin story. They feel
Which
like, again, we seen that enough, and that the focus will be on the original 5 from the comics, which is Iceman, Beast, Angel, Jean Grey, and Cyclops.
Which is similar to,
which is cool, but a little disappointing. But I understand, like, you kind of got to start from there.
Yeah, and
if you want to do it right,
if you
get your base right.
Yeah,
get your base right.
Spinoffs and everything. But dang, what rendition was it? It was one of the X-Men where they brought back the original and they like had some time jumping and these
X Factor.
Was it X Factor?
Do you mean in the comics?
It was a recent rendition where they had young
you're talking about they did that. That was probably about 2016.
Yeah, and that was pretty good.
2016. They brought the X-Men were going through sort of like a crisis of faith throughout the team, the X-Men team, all the mutants. So they went and got the original 5 from the past and brought them to the future and made them a part of the team so that they could see why they all the older X-Men could see the point of why they all came together and why they built this thing and they sort of reignited the team or reignited the X-Men universe. And it was actually ended up being a really tight storyline because they sent them back to the past, but like did this mind wipe things where they didn't take away their memories, but they blocked the memories from them so it would like come back to them at a certain age.
Mm-hmm. And the reason like I brought that up too is because not only did it do that and reignite kind of some of the, hey, this is the core, it did that for me as a reader too. Like, oh man, I forgot like how tight Cyclops and Jean, because you
Justice
see that so
for Cyclops,
much,
man.
And
Justice for Cyclops in this movie.
And even because it was off of that Cyclops is right. And, remember he took a lot of those dark turns.
That was the dope part about that storyline. The young Cyclops was like,
meeting
what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
And the old Cyclops was like, you don't understand what I've been through. Like a war-torn, grizzled veteran. Like, nah, like we gotta, like Cyclops was really like, if we gotta kill him, we gotta kill him. So, and the young Cyclops was like, we don't do that. Like,
exactly. So, Lof, when you say the core, so we're talking Cyclops, Jean, Professor X, Beast,
Angel, Iceman.
Angel, Iceman. Okay. Because sometimes the core, like they leave out Angel, Iceman.
Nah, it's the 5 X-Men and then Professor X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for. And again, even some of the stuff they did with Iceman down the road, like when
Iceman like that. Like that was he was underutilized back in the day. Yeah.
But then you really have to think about what you're also sacrificing outside of Wolverine, which is we've had Storm from the beginning.
Storm, Gambit,
and Rogue.
That's
so it's
Nightcrawler.
I think it's I think it's fine because I think that's a good sort of base to start with the other rumor being Mr. Sinister being the big bad.
Yeah.
All of it is going to be fine, man. As long as the movie is good, I think the actual cast of X-Men is going to be fine. I think we can presume that Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars will end with a reset of the sort of like whole universe being one timeline. And that in that timeline begins the mutant saga. So I think a lot of the movies that are coming out will focus on mutants. So Thor will probably have mutants in it. I know that's, sort of the way that they looked at multiverse, which was it's going to have some sort of connective tissue to everything.
Yeah.
So you can envision Black Panther 3, Storm probably going to be in that joint.
Right.
I mean, I think that's...
And I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of X-Men, we get one of those like teasers with either Storm or Nightcrawler, or there's just so much room for them to continue.
This is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering what the time frame will be from this first movie, since it's starting with the original 5, X-Men and Professor X. And then based on that, like how much time lapses throughout the movie. Based on that, do they do the Uncanny X-Men thing? Because if you you might not remember, James, but it was Uncanny X-Men. The original team was Uncanny X-Men. They started the X-Men team sort of with the third team. The second team was when they brought in Havoc and Polaris. And some people dropped off.
I always liked Havoc, man.
I think Havoc is a dope character too, but they different writers mess them up sometimes. But then the third team, which they really call the second team, but that's where they introduced Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Banshee.
Jubilee.
No, that's not
she's
Jubilee.
Later.
No, that's later. They did all the 4 in X-Men. So then that team was like the second big team. And then Jubilee, Gambit, Psylocke, Rogue, they all came after that happened and progressed as members of the team that joined more organically.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, since they're starting from the beginning, I'm wondering if they're trying to do like the historical progression the way that it actually happened. But it would take a lot. It would take a lot. So
and they could always like speed it up and do the whole like.
That's why I said what's the time lapse?
Like, hey, I found this X-Men. Go find them. You know what I mean?
What's the time lapse, and how are they going to do that? X-Men in Africa, X-Men in Canada, X-Men in Russia. Yeah.
And it's so funny because we literally had what I thought was someone doing it sort of right with First Class. I think First Class was a great...
I didn't mind First Class.
Yeah, like I thought it was a great iteration, but it also wasn't the right mix. Right. So like I think that this mix of initial characters for a first movie, and I think the reason I thought of First Class is because you said I'm curious what timeline.
Yeah.
I think all of that, I would hope Marvel has figured out. This is the entry point for the mutant saga. X-Men, I think, is slated to be 2028.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because Black Panther's coming out before that.
Yeah.
And
so I think some of those mutants will exist before we get that original
the same year. I don't know.
I think some of those other mutants will exist before we get to the original team. I think they're just going to start with that original team and probably start to develop. Maybe even at the end of the movie, it'll be a end credit scene where Professor Xavier goes and meets Storm in Africa somewhere or something like that.
Yeah. Right. I would much rather like to see her be a collateral character in Black Panther. I just trust Coogler with introducing us to her.
But she could be, and then they still do that same thing.
That's true.
And they kind of laid the foundation. Was it Miss Marvel? Like they put mutants kind of in the. So I got a feeling that even before we see the core X-Men group, they will be
gonna have
mutants.
Some mutants.
Like
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Halle Berry's in Avengers. So
all of them, all of the Fox X-Men are.
So
all the Fox.
We're talking about who the new version
after the multiverse saga is.
But I think it's very interesting because then you have to continue to think about Captain America. So if he's World War II, how many years does it take for him to wake up? You have to figure out Wolverine's timeline. All of these timelines of people from the past have to figure out if you're going to make X-Men begin in the current, all of this stuff has to line up.
Love, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be real with you right now. Level set your expectations of me. As soon as I get the release date for the X-Men movie, I don't give a damn about none of that past stuff. All I want to know is that y'all gonna get this X-Men movie right. I don't care if it line up with none of that old stuff.
Yeah, and there's ways that they can do it. You know what I mean? Depending on how they reset the timeline. I need to bring Cap back if it's gonna be Chris Evans again. And
I need an Uncanny X-Men, and then I need the sequel to be X-Men.
Well, by all accounts,
or vice versa.
By all accounts, James Marsden's Cyclops is being fixed for Avengers.
Yeah. Oh,
what they can't do is fix him for Avengers and then
nerf him.
undo it, and mess it up in the new one. Yeah, they can't. Can't go backwards. So.
Yeah, man. I guess that's it, man. Y'all got anything else y'all want to bring up? Have y'all really heard anything about Endgame or Avengers? Or like, I know that they showed, but they've been doing a really good job of making sure that a lot of that doesn't leak. You kind of got people to describe the trailer, but nothing really has come out other than AI renditions of what people said.
Yeah, just those little nuggets just keep getting released about the approach, like the approach to the movie or the approach to a character or the fact that someone is loosely gonna be in it. I haven't heard any real substantive plot details or anything with any validity. Just a bunch of theories.
I guess we'll see. Well, this has been another episode of the Real Kings Podcast. Please get us wherever you get your podcast. We got video now, so please subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Get us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Hopefully y'all are liking the new rendition. Please give us some feedback. Tell us some additional things y'all might want us to add or things that you want us to fix. Hopefully we have Jonathan next time. He's not off playing hooky or whatever he's doing with Rob. But thank y'all for tuning in, and peace.
Later. John somewhere taking copious notes, hating on something right now.
Yep, something.